Hi everybody, this is Oracle Ong. Welcome to my channel, and this is a love reading of sorts for a dear friend, and I'll call her Patricia. So it's a love reading of sorts because it's got something to do with an ex-boyfriend who's re-entering or attempting to reconnect with Patricia. And from what I know, this ex-boyfriend is sending texts and trying to check up on her. And Patricia wants some clarity. What might be the motives behind this? And we have the cards, and I've drawn 6 cards already to gain clarity on the situation. And and let's see how it goes from there. So I've got 2 cards to start with. The Hanged Man, and this card came out in the reverse actually. So it came out this way. And the Hangman represents the central energy actually of the reading, and it represents Patricia in this particular case. So the Hangman is actually one of the most intriguing tarot cards. It's a major arcana card. Um, and that always represents a significant moment in one's life, a significant energy being exerted in this particular situation, in this particular time. And the hangman represented here, of course, by this figure hanging from a tree. If you look at this person's expression, however, it's not one of being trapped. There's also a sense of peace and quiet surrender that this person um, is expressing in this particular situation. And it's a card that has evolved meanings over the years. It used to have more negative connotations of being suspended in motion, being unable to get to your main objective where you want to be. But it's evolved into um, incorporate the notion of radical passivity and surrender, a kind of peaceful surrender that has that that is being invited of a person. That in order to make sense of a complex issue or life situation, rather than trying to exert so much force, so much control, um, and I know Patricia has elements of being a control freak, micromanaging. I mean, as a cancer, right? A cancer with true nurturing motherly energies, which can also veer towards controlling, veer towards trying to get to know everything, the ins and outs of a situation. Um, the hangman is an invitation to passivity, that it's about a change of perspective that is necessary in order to really make sense of the issues that you're going through, whether it might be doubt, whether it might be um, uh, sleepless nights over, yeah, perhaps like a past hurt or a past issue, a disagreement that's coming from the past. So the hangman invites you toward reflection. And the fact that it came out in the reverse means that there's a resistance to this invitation, that you are trying to push back on it, that you are being the true cancer that you are, trying to enforce that motherly energy, and not the kind of motherly which is passive and lets the child be, but the parent, right? The real adult of the in the situation, and there's an element to control. So the hangman came out with the Eight of Pentacles, and these are the 2 central cards. So the first 2 cards in this spread represents the tensions that are coming to the fore, that are informing one another. So on one hand, this invitation to be passive, and on the other hand, Eight of Pentacles. This is a card representing, as you can see here, hard work. It represents putting in the time and effort to actually learn. But there's also a kind of bookishness, right? So this person kind of like a dressed like a monk, also with a bald head right there, buried deep in books. So it represents knowledge that is traditional. It represents knowledge that is also kind of ancestral. That is, there's a heritage to it. It's like established knowledge, right? And not the kind of radical new perspective of the hangman. And I think that's something that you are trying to resolve. You are trying to put together and reconcile two different truths, perhaps in your head, two different, um, and I'm not talking about factual truths, but like emotional truths. Like there's two um, core emotions, perhaps, that you are feeling that are rather conflicted. And one is a feeling that is stemming from, I know this as right, I know this as factually correct, I know this as something that is true, is stable, something that I can depend on. While the other form of knowledge is a scarier, perhaps a more unusual kind of knowledge, um, a knowledge that is actually felt rather than known by the mind. It's a knowledge of the heart, and you're trying to reconcile that. And I wonder whether this represents something about this ex-boyfriend that you have in your life, or whether it represents um, two different issues, one representing the ex-boyfriend and one representing another relationship that you might have. And let's see the other cards, and what they might be able to tell us about the situation, because it's quite a philosophical dilemma that I pose on you, and I apologize if that was a bit confusing. So this card represents your recent events. So your past, Two of Cups, and look at this card. You can see um, hands clasp. Actually, more like a pinky swear being made here. This is a card of romance. This is a card of love and infatuation. Um, it actually represents, so it's a lower key lovers card. So there's another card in the tarot that represents lovers, which is about soulmate kind of connection in a true powerful choice that's about to be made. And this is kind of like the lower key version of that. It's a card that represents new romance, also a younger, shorter term kind of romance. And I love the fact that it's represented here by a pinky swear, a kind of like innocent expression of trust being exchanged. And I wonder, and this also crucially came out in the reverse. So, and the fact that it came out in the past, it represents. I would think that it represents your ex-boyfriend, and a promise, perhaps a connection that is really real, that was made in the past. Perhaps that might have turned sour, perhaps might have disappointed. The fact that the promise came out in the reverse means perhaps it wasn't quite fulfilled in the exact terms that you were hoping to. Maybe that's why it didn't quite work out. It's definitely the energy that it informs your current situation, that informs the tension between the traditional kind of knowledge that you are holding on to, and this kind of radical new information that is being presented all to you, um, that will turn your world upside down, literally, right? Like the hangman. Like you are turned upside down and you're seeing the world possibly from a new perspective. There's new information that has to be resolved, that has to be reconciled. And it's causing sleepless nights, Nine of Swords. So Nine of Swords represents your present and kind of like near future kind of energy. This is where you're headed towards. So if that was a past, this is the kind of near future kind of card. Um, Represents sleepless nights, tossing and turning in bed, a lot of things on your brain. You are lost in your own thoughts. Some of it is um, you're too much in your head. You're too much overthinking things, over rationalizing things, and it's not a fun experience. It's not good to be in this situation. And so let's see what your conscious thoughts and subconscious thoughts are. And I find them quite interesting because they represent here water and fire, which is you and your ex, right? So you're a water sign, the moon. The moon represents also a kind of divine feminine energy, right? It represents mystery, it represents cycles, um, it, it represents what is hidden, what is not, not evident. It represents feelings and deep emotions, deep truths that are really at the core of one's being. It's actually one of my favorite cards. I'm also a water sign. I'm a Pisces, and I'm represented by the moon in the tarot. And I really respond to this kind of imagery, right? It's a free flowing tears. Um, it's it's a card that represents where the state of your mind is right now, or maybe not the state of your mind, the state of your heart. You're ready to absorb all the feelings, all the things right now. You are taking it in as the Cancer that you are. You're swirling in your emotions, but you're also thinking them. It's everything that's coming together at the moment. And you're also absorbing and feeling the other person's energy. And not just the ex, but everyone else's, as the nurturer that you are. And it's hard to reconcile, of course. This represents the subconscious. If that was your conscious, this is your subconscious. um, and I'd have to surmise that this is the X. Wands is fire. Wands is fire energy. And Sagittarius is a fire sign. Um, and the fact that Three of Wands came out here, Three of Wands is a card of trying to start something, trying to build something. Here is kind of like, so there's a campfire, kind of like a teepee that's about to be built, kind of like a tent that's about to be put up, right? So before you have that stable structure of a home, which is the Four of Wands, you'd have to start smaller. It's the first attempt at trying to build something. Um, I think about this as energies of so she's thinking about what if, right? She's thinking about what if we put in more effort to this? Um, what if I try to build something? What if I make an effort to put something together? And of course, as the moon, as the Cancer, as the water sign that you are, once again, you're feeling the burden of you have to take it on for yourself. That this this energy of bringing something together, making it productive, making it generative, something for the future, something that could be stable, something that folks could enjoy together. You're taking that on as your burden, and um, and my reading for you right now is that what's needed, in fact, is surrender. What's needed is passivity. What's needed is let things unfold in their own times. Do not control. Do not absorb, or else it's going to end in tears. Right? You might be absorbing elements which are irreconcilable. You are being challenged to reconcile opposites. Um, the the hangman and the eight of pentacles as opposite kind of energies, two of cups and nine of swords also as opposite energies here. um, let's let's ask for more clarity here. I'm feeling that uh, you are burdened, you are overburdened. Seven of Pentacles, Temperance. Oh, that is so appropriate. Oh, Nine of Cups. Oh, Knight of Cups. Whew. Very interesting four cards. So first, Seven of Pentacles. And this card represents you. The next card actually represents another person. And the next, and that is Temperance. Look at this sexy guy. Um, this represents external events that might happen. Nine of Cups, she's happy. And your final card, the Knight of Cups. Okay, let's see. Seven of Pentacles. So this represents you, right? Look at her. I can see you in her. She is looking lush. She is looking healthy. She's admiring her garden and the fruits of her labor, right? It's a very abundant atmosphere. Um, a lot of greens. So that also kind of means like um, you've put in a lot of work and you're seeing the fruits of your labor, and it's looking pretty great. But kind of not enough. Um, so seven of Pentacles is represents that moment in your hard work, but also in this kind of like mother figure, right? Um, like you've been through a lot. Um, you've worked your ass off to get to where you are, to be somewhere comfortable, and not just for yourself but for other people too. Again, as that divine feminine energy of the moon and as a Cancer. And this Seven of Pentacles also kind of represents that kind of motherly nurturing kind of figure. But there's an element here of a little bit of boredom, a little bit of unsure where to go next. So the garden has grown all around her. It's also kind of suffocating her, right? So her incredible energies and personhood, they're not in full bloom. They're not in full view. It's like the garden has kind of like overtaken her, right? And I think Seven of Pentacles, um, is about that point in your life of asking you, what do you want to do next? How do you want to grow this garden? And how do you want to trim this garden? How do you want to streamline it, um, to fix it up, that it suits you rather than it overwhelming you and overshadowing you, right? So perhaps a point of like thinking about choices that have to be made, things that need to be cut off, things that need to be released. Um, that's a question that I pose for you. What is it in your life that is not working for you? And also particularly when it comes to work and a lot of the home building aspects to it. So Pentacles is about the home. There's something there that needs some kind of streamlining. Um, and I like that Temperance, also a major arcana card. So this is also a very powerful card. And Temperance is about the synthesis. It's about the mixing of two different kinds of elements. And here you could see this guy mixing two different kind of liquids, right? And trying to make sure that through that process of putting two things together, there's something new, there's something better. Um, the fact that this came out in your other person card, I think to me, rather than kind of like obviously representing, oh, this is a guy that needs to be mixed into your life. I'm not interpreting it that way, but it's more like this moment of reconnection, this moment of him reaching out to you, and you having to go back to and reflect on past promises, past loves, past relationships, and having to reconcile. Different kinds of feelings and experiences that you have. I think it's an invitation for you to make sense of your own, not just your family life, but your own personal life, about things that would need some kinds of moderation. So perhaps you've put so much energy into some aspects of your life that you are leaving out others. And this person and the fact that he's come back into your life, you recall aspects of yourself, um, or aspirations that you might have had, forgotten dreams that you might have let go of, and you're kind of thinking, hey, I kind of miss that person that I was in the past. Maybe some element of channeling that youthful energy of yourself in the past needs to come back in. And I love how Nine of Cups is in your reading. Nine of Cups is an invitation to self care. Don't forget about yourself, right? Mother Cancer needs to take care of herself too. She needs some self love. And look at this kind of masturbatory kind of image here. She's just lush and happy and proud of all that, of all that body, right? And she's taking time out for herself. And Nine of Cups, I think, represents a new kind of blossoming into who you are and who you really and what you really feel. It's a kind of attunement to your true emotions, and aspirations that you might have kind of put in a box somewhere. It's like you, you've been so focused in your work, you've been so focused in building a great home for others and a great environment for others at work, that perhaps you've let go of empowering yourself and taking time out to also care for yourself. And I think this is the time out to do that. And And I am floored that Knight of Cups is in your final card. Knight of Cups represents. I'm not sure if this is your guy. Um, okay, I'll just go out and say it, right? So because your guy is fire, right? Sagittarius. But the Knight of Cups and the archetype of the Knight of Cups. This is the romantic, super romantic, emotional, emo, poet, hipster, writes poems, writes love songs, will sweep you off your feet kind of person, cheesy as fuck. Is that your guy? Because the fact that this represents romance and cheesy romance and like someone who will kind of like really fight for you in a like wow overbearing kind of way, but maybe you for a Cancer like you, maybe that floats your boat. um for Pisces like me, it overwhelms us sometimes. Anyway, so this card represents this kind of romance in your life, and and this could represent another person, and the fact that this is a question about another person coming in, right? So that's a kind of obvious interpretation of the fact that Knight of Cups is your clincher card, that this person is here, and he's going to be around, this kind of energy. And Knight of Cups also loves to pursue things, loves to, so he's not gonna back down from being rejected the first time. He's, um, yeah, you'll need to do much more than um, um, to push him away because he's gonna be super persistent. But at the same time, another interpretation is this could be an aspect of yourself. And so tarot is really all about archetypes and aspects and experiences that we all feel and are part of the human person, right? And so the romantic, cheesy um, uh, self, um, it might be something that you also need to express for yourself, right? Like maybe the Knight of Cups in you, that person who loves, and of course the fact that you are, yeah, you are in the love industry, right? And so this kind of feeling, this kind of experience is very much a part of your everyday life too, right? Um, that's something that you need to channel from within you too. You are searching for that, and you are searching for a release of that, and not just for others, not just to help others find their love, but also for you to find um, a channel, a conduit for this kind of true, flirty, fun, also kind of silly aspect and playful aspect to you, right? Like you want that to be released out into the world rather than be repressed or rather than just be a job that you do for other people. So it's an invitation for you to reconnect to your own inner Knight of Cups and to welcome the Knights of Cups that will be in your life and who are in your life. And that's what the fact that this is your last card, that's what this represents. So much romance, so much love. And think about yourself too. Um, so I drew out a spirit animal that um, this is frog spirit. So I draw a card from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck just to finish our reading and help you focus the story into an animal spirit that you would want to channel for yourself in order to manifest this kind of Knight of Cups story, in order for you to have that expanded perspective of the Hanged Man, right? To allow yourself a new ways of thinking about romance that you want to welcome into your life, and what kind of self care that is needed for you to become your best nurturing mother Cancer kind of self. And the card that I drew for you is Frog Spirit. Clear out the clutter, right? So, and this to me connects so much with the Seven of Pentacles card. Where is that card? Just to remind you that while this lady is in the middle of this incredibly lush garden that she tended, that she very much curated and put in so much hard work to make it grow in this kind of abundant kind of way. At the same time, it is looking a little bit cluttered. It's looking a little bit messy. It needs a bit of editing. So, Frog Spirit, clear out the clutter. Help yourself streamline your life and synthesize the different aspects and the best aspects that you want to integrate to become your best self. So the fact that you also drew temperance here means that there's some aspects of your life which are just so much more accelerated, so much more at a higher level than others. You need to put in some work in other aspects of your life. You need to think about your the fact that your ex has come in, um, and make that decision of how to integrate those kinds of energies and what he represents to you, and in order to help you become your best nurturing self. So let me know if that resonates. I apologize that this a reading took forever to do. So message me if you have any questions. Thank you.